We are back live on the drive, and now joining us, the guests are rolling in on a Football Friday. Coach Wayne Atron from the Crimson Cliffs Mustangs. Wayne Alofipo joining us now. My old buddy, ready to go. Mustangs 1-0, jumped up to number one in the 4A poll, up in the top 15 in the all-classification poll. Coach Wayne, how are you? Good morning on a game day, buddy.
Hey, doing well. Thanks for having me on.
You get a good night's sleep last night, getting ready for a big-time showdown with the Miners tonight?
Got about 3.5 hours of sleep.
That's a little less than you probably would have liked, right?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's our first road game of the year. Had a lot of little administrative things I had to get right as far as, packing lists and all those type of things. Had to get that done and make sure everything's in order, and on top of watching some last-minute film and stuff. So it was good.
What time does the bus roll out today to head up north?
Yeah, we'll be taking off this morning around 10 o'clock. We'll kind of make our way up north, stop, get some lunch. We'll stop and do a little walkthrough on the way up, and then hopefully get the kids right and go compete.
Yeah, give me kind of first time we've had you on this show since media day. Give me a little reaction. How did you feel about the win over Morgan last Friday night? Week one, there's always some good, there's always mixed with some bad, always a lot of things you can clean up. But obviously, you guys mission accomplished. You went out there and got a nice win, despite spotting them 8 early points and an 8-0 deficit for you guys.
Yeah, I mean it was funny. We started that game off. We did the coin toss, and right after the coin toss, kids got all amped, and then we had a 45-minute lightning delay. So kind of, had a roller coaster of emotions that way, but Morgan had to deal with the same thing. But then we came out, and, what a lot of people don't know is we had some little injuries on our O-line that happened during camp. So we had 2 new guys that we weren't slated to start that game, and ended up having to start. And, we had a little bit of a rough patch there, but to be expected with the young O-line. But, cleaned some things up, and was super proud of the coaches as well as the young men that they responded after the first 2 drives, after we adjusted some things, and they started competing at a better level. And then we started rolling. We got in the hole 8-0 there, and had a breakdown in coverage on the back end, which, again, got a couple new starters back there that are just learning and seeing live reps against another team for the first time. And so it was good, though. I mean, I was super happy with the way our team responded on both sides of the ball. It was really nice after an 8-0 start. They reeled off 35 points. I mean, that Morgan team is a great team. I will promise you that team will be there at the end. That is a great program, well coached. Those kids are tough as can be. That's a solid O-line, incredible defense. So that's no slouch of a Morgan team. There's a reason why they went 13-0. Coach came up to me and told me, hey, that's our first loss in almost 3 years. Their last loss was in the state championship when they were undefeated and lost in the state championship a couple years back. And so both coach programs were pretty complimentary of each other, and it was a good test for us right out the gate. So we were proud of the kids.
And Coach, Zach Sargent, the running back for Morgan, only had 24 yards rushing. He did find Paydirt, found the end zone once. But talk about your defensive line, specifically Parker Andrus. We heard he was a wrecking ball last week, multiple sacks, living in the backfield. Just talk about the importance of your D-line in the early season and how good they've been.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone knows that nose guard position is the anchor of the 3-4 defense. And when you have a young man like Parker, who last year, we flipped the switch on him and put him to defense. Last year, he relied a lot just on pure strength, not a lot of skill set. It's a testament to that young man and his commitment to the game, commitment to his craft, commitment to his team, that this whole offseason, obviously he never stopped working out, but as far as the weight room's concerned, but he was nonstop training with D-line coaches, trying to work on hips, trying to get better hands, trying to understand that game from that point. And again, Parker is the anchor, but we got some really good D linemen over there. You got Scott Nyson, you got Caden Hawes, you got Kason Cuff. We moved one of our running backs there from last year, Bronson Plum. And so it's just nice because you got leaders like that, and the young guys, you're seeing them just catch on, and things are becoming habitual and contagious and whatnot. And so they're starting to play at that same level, and it's been fun to watch that just be such a contagious attitude, a contagious effort. Parker last week, I mean, the jump that he took from the end of the year last year to that game one, I don't know if I've seen that growth that fast is impressive. And it speaks to he got another offer this week from Nevada. A couple days later because they were so impressed with what he's done and his growth. And so it's nice to have an anchor like Parker Andrews.
Yeah, and I believe many more offers going to come. And if anybody knows the D-line position, it's you. That's where you played and made hay at as a player. And so you got to take a little extra pride in those D-linemen like Parker and his development. What's the ceiling for him like? I mean, how much more can he improve, Coach? It sounds like he's already improved so much, but what's the ceiling?
I mean, honestly, I compare him. I know this is a crazy comparison in a lot of people's eyes, but it's you got to be real with yourself. Parker is not a 6'5", 6'6" kid. He's a 6'1", 6'1.5" kid. I compare him to Aaron Donald as far as the weight room. If he can get the twitchiness that Aaron Donald has, the strength I'm not concerned about, and that kid starts to understand leverage and how to use that weight room power and transition it to the field, his strength will make up for his deficit in other areas. And you add in that twitchiness. I mean, this kid's got a high ceiling because his IQ is going up in that position. He's understanding angles. He's understanding how to use his hips and leverage, and his hands are coming along. It's crazy. I mean, like I said, from last year to game one, it was awesome to see. But then you add in this other element that Parker's always like showing glimpses of, but the motor came last week where he was just non-stop. And it speaks again to his commitment to being conditioned and being ready and whatnot. And then I think we got two of the best D-line coaches around, in Benson Laumatia and Holly Cotnohe. Both of them weren't in the program last year, and Benson was at the Temp View, and Holly took a little one-year hiatus. And they both came back, and that's really helped our D-line room as well. And so we're super proud to have great coaches and lucky that helped marry with a really good D-line. So that's been nice.
Yeah, I remember Benson. He played here at Dixie State, Utah Tech, right?
That's right.
He played. Yeah,
Yep.
I remember Benson. Jay Sweet and a couple interceptions. I mean, I thought maybe 7-8 picks would be kind of the over/under line on him. He could have 10+ picks this year, Coach. He just got a nose for the ball back there in the secondary.
Jason's a high IQ kid. I really mean that. He reminds me of Peyton Wilgar when I had Peyton at Dixie High. Just both played safety for me, both 6'3", long, rangy dudes. But Jace has a really high ceiling, but his IQ will match with his athleticism, becomes pretty freakish and pretty special. You don't get those type of kids so often where they have both of those things. And Jace is literally an extension out there on the back end of me. I mean, I don't make coverage calls. It's Jace. I call a blitz or a stunt, and he calls all the coverages. He knows situations. We drill that in throughout the week, and he's really helped our secondary as a whole become just super high IQ young men, and even my juniors and sophomores. They're seeing that example again. Same thing with Parker at the front end. When you have a guy like that on the back, it's really just developing the program as a whole. It's super nice to have. And then we moved Connor Kell back there to help on the defensive side, and he's the new safety back there, as well as Kiave Aquin, who suffered an ACL injury last week. He's helping with some rotational stuff. And we have another dude named Caden Madsen, Mad Dog Madsen, that helps us back there as well. And so we're really confident in all four young men, but Jace is definitely the leader of the group. And it's shown week in and week out, and I'm excited to see what he continues to do.
Yeah, it'll be a big test for the secondary against Bingham tonight. We're going to get to that game. But let's go to the offensive side of the ball, week one. Still Barbin with Coach Stokes back calling the plays, 24-35. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. What would Coach Stokes' assessment of Steele in the new offense? Obviously, it's not too terribly different, but maybe some new terminology and things of that nature. Was Coach Stokes happy with Steele's performance week one?
Oh, yeah, we're definitely happy with the way it came out. That one interception was an unfortunate thing. We had some wrong routes that, receivers just ran the wrong routes, and we had the receivers in the same spot. One receiver just kind of alligator armed it because he thought he was going to the other receiver, and ended up being an interception. So Steele's progression has been incredible. He's starting to understand the game from a big picture view and able to break it down to how Coach Stokes wants it. So it's pretty nice. I mean, were we perfect last week? Absolutely not. Are we making the progression and the strides we want and hope? Absolutely. And so it's fun to see that. And, we're rolling in a lot of receivers right now. I mean, we're rotating We didn't rotate as many as we wanted last week just because we didn't get to get the pace that we wanted. But once we get the pace that we want and the tempo, you'll see there'll be up to 8 receivers rotating. And last week I think we rotated on average 6, sometimes 7. But we have 8 deep that we really believe in from our senior laden class, even to our juniors. And we're excited about a lot of our juniors that can come in and fill in some roles and, spell some time and whatnot. But once that chemistry continues to dial in, once we get a little bit healthier on our old line, it's going to be a good thing. We're excited about what we have brewing, but we just got to continue to put that together week in and week out.
And Coach, on the ground, we were just going through the air with Steele Barban, but on the ground, you've got the two-headed monster of the first team All-Region, Mason Topalian and McCord Christensen. What are those guys? They both found pay dirt in week 1. Are you expecting huge things from both of them this year?
Listen, that is a really, really nice luxury that we had. And to be quite frank, those two were our player of the games last week because they helped us get out of our little rut on offense last week and got us into rhythm. And just to correct it, it is McCord Christiansen. It's McCord Christiansen and Mason Topalian. Those two are very dynamic. What's awesome about those guys is they are every down backs. They can play first through fourth. I mean, they're just incredible. You could put them out in the spread. The dynamic that those two bring to this game and to this team and offense, I mean, I know Andy, when he came over, he was just super excited. I mean, both of them pop in different ways. You got Mason, who's just a high, can take it to the house in any given time with his top speed. And then you got the dynamic of McCord Christiansen, who's just probably our most dynamic, explosive player on both sides of the ball. And so it's just fun to have that two-headed monster. And so really fortunate to have two good running backs. What I love about those two is they literally will cheer each other on. They root for each other. They compete with each other. And they just love each other. And they just make our team really, really good. And I love having those two guys.
You guys have obviously a tough stretch here. I mean, you took on a 3A powerhouse, won last week, beating Morgan. Now you go up to Bingham. They're looking to bounce back. They got beat on that Thursday night kind of Utah State opening game, 27-7. Lone Peak beat them. And then you got Springville. You guys got some games. But let's talk about Bingham. What do you see? I'm sure you've watched the film against Lone Peak, and I'm sure that you know that they're going to be hungry to get in a win column in their home opener.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, this Bingham team's huge. Nice-sized team, well-coached, and Eric Jones and Freddie Fernandez. I mean, two stalwart coaches that came from Roy and kind of taking over that Bingham program. But they're a good-sized team with some good athletes out there. Honestly, if you watch that Lone Peak game, just a couple breakdowns on both sides of the ball, that game would have been completely different. I mean, the 27-7 score doesn't do it justice. Loan credit to Lone Peak. They stopped them right before halftime, or that would have been a 3-point game before halftime on the 2-yard line, And so the game could have gone either way, and it was really 2 big plays by Lone Peak. I don't know if it was like a 60, 70-yard bomb and then a 50-yard bomb. And that's what opened the game up, or it would have been down to the wire type game. 2 really good teams. So for us, it's with Bingham, Freddie Fernandez, he runs a lot of variations. It's incredible. It's like playing against a Madden team. You don't know what offense he's going to come out in. Runs a billion formations. Reminds me of Ridgeline. And so for us of a defensive side, we're trying to make sure that we simplify the game and help the kids see that, it's a lot of formations, but still a lot of same concepts. Their eyes and keys stay the same. We got to really make it simple for them and just be able to allow them to play fast and throw some wrinkles in there. We got a couple different wrinkles and things that we're going to try and do to try to test their O-line. And then I know on the offensive side, we really like some of our matchups. But the key to that is, as anything, is we've talked about throughout this whole deal, is our trenches. We got to compete in the trenches. They got good trenches. That's their strength, is their O-line, D-line. I think we match up well on the skill side of things. But if we can compete in the trenches, I think we have a good chance to go up here. And, I tell the kids, hey, if you have any doubt in your mind that we're not going to go win this game, please stay home. Because we're going with every intention up there to compete and make ourselves better. And, in the year 5, going into our year 5 of a program, we're just grateful to be able to be in these conversations and to be playing against the Binghams and feeling like we have a chance. And so it's a testament to these young men and these parents and the program as a whole that, we're making that progress.
Coach Wayne Alofipo, our guest here. They did play 2 quarterbacks, and I love what you just said. If you're not ready to go up there and win, just stay home. Anthony Salazar and Arona Kaili, I think, both combined to go 12 for 20. Do you expect a dual quarterback system tonight, or do you think they were just getting a look at each one? What's your best guess?
No, I think it was an injury that the Khalil kid came in. It was an injury that brought him in, and I don't know if Bingham was just trying to play cautious there and be smart. Even their other running back went out. Their stud, he's the number 3 running back in state, the Sadberry kid. And so he looked like he went out with a shoulder injury, but I could tell he wanted to go back in, and I think they're just making sure they're being safe and whatnot. So I expect both of those guys to be back this week. I mean, I think the Khalil kid there's no drop-off at quarterback from either of them. They're both talented. One's a senior, one's a sophomore. So they're both talented that way, but the Sadberry kid, and I can't remember number 7's name. He was actually toting the rock the most.
Hunter
both went down.
Hunter Min, I think is his name. Min.
Yeah, stud of a player. He actually was the one that was causing fits for Lone Peak, and luckily Lone Peak was lucky he went down. But yeah, we expect to see the starters. Here's the reason why, right? They play Mater Dei next week, and if I'm a coach and in their situation, and playing against 2 classifications down, and playing Mater Dei the following week, I don't think they can afford to go 0-3. So you better believe in our mind they're going in and saying, hey, it's putting all our chips in this game. We can't afford to go 0-3 of the season. Mater Dei is no joke, and so I think they know, hey, this has got to be a big game for them. I don't think they're overlooking us by any means. My first cousin actually is the D-line coach over there, and his son's actually their star D-lineman in Jay Tupea over there, number 8. And so it's going to be a fun battle. We know a lot of the coaches there. We've been friends for a long time, our staff with their staff. So, a lot of mutual respect, but you better believe we're going out there, like I said, we're going out there with every intention to compete and win this dang game. And I hope our kids' mindset is that way. It's not going to be easy, but we got to go earn that thing, and it's going to be fun. It's a great opportunity. I'm excited to compete against such a great, storied program. And it's a great opportunity for coaches and kids and our program alike. It should be a fun atmosphere.
7 o'clock tonight. Crimson Cliffs at Bingham, and he mentioned Bingham and Mater Dei next week. Bishop Gorman and Corner Canyon also play tonight. That's going to be kind of one of
it's freaking.
That's
it's
awesome.
I'm loving that. I'm loving to see our Utah football being put more and more on the map. Utah football is the real deal. Southern Utah football is the real deal, and these coaches are starting to find out more and more. I've talked to 5 coaches from college this week, and it's just been interesting to hear. And just like, guys, they're all like, man, we need to make it down south. We need to make it down south. I'm like, well, the guys that know. And I think that once you figure this out, you're going to realize there's a lot of dang good talent down here in all the high schools, a lot of good coaching, a lot of good players. So, I'm hoping that continues to happen where we get to play out-of-state schools and really give our kids a chance to be put in that stage.
Coach Wayne, have a great trip up there. Safe trip. Have a great call from the sideline, and good luck to you and the Mustangs. And we'll be looking forward to more chats throughout the season here on the Fan Sports Network. As always, thanks for joining us on a game day, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having us. Go Mustangs. Take care.
All right, Wayne Alofipo right there on the drive. His son scored a touchdown. Malachi, he's a junior. One of the receiving touchdowns from Barbin was Coach Wayne's son. So that's exciting for Coach to be coaching his son, even though he's more the defensive guy. That's going to be a storyline to watch, and we'll talk more about that as the season progresses, I'm sure. So, got to take a break. Hopefully, we can connect with one more coach when we come back. Coach KJ Boyd, Pineview, Canyon View. All the rain up there in Cedar City yesterday. Pineview, one of the 2 teams to win, Crimson and Pineview. Those are the 2 teams to win. That's an interesting matchup. Used to be a region matchup. It's not anymore. Canyon View's 3A, of course. Pineview 4A. And we'll break it down and hopefully jump on the horn with Coach Boyer when we come back. Good morning on the Fan Sports Network on a Football Friday.